there's just too many people. Like, there's not too many people. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to frame the wrong sentiment here. There are too many people who are not thinking for themselves. Like that we live in a society where we lack, it's almost like we lack the self-awareness to identify I mean, we have people we call influencers, but I don't think people consuming the influencers ever really think about what that means. That they are actively influencing you and your thoughts and your reality. I don't even think people think about reality that way. What you perceive is what you believe to be reality. Oftentimes, not you specifically, but many people. And if you do that on a broad enough scale, it manifests, right? If you're talking about, if everyone woke up tomorrow and started talking about bunnies, well, the bunnies become a presence in the mind, which then bleed into your conversations. May not bleed into your conversations. It's the fact that they're there. They become a signpost in your thoughts. You know, something that is prevalent enough, present enough to become like a main player in how you experience the world. And there's nothing, I would love to be thinking about bunnies all the time. In fact, let today be the day that we celebrate bunnies. Grew up on, well, I didn't grow up, I would say. I spent time in my childhood on a farm, and there were bunnies. It wasn't like my family's farm. It was a house on a farm, basically. And I remember the owner of the property had tasked me and my two friends, the neighbors, they were brothers, Adam and Scott, with catching the bunnies. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. I didn't think that was cruel because I was a kid. I never had that lesson, sort of. I wasn't informed that way. I didn't know why we're catching bunnies. But I like them. I didn't want them to be hurt or anything like that. So we caught all of the bunnies. I was good at it. I was quick. I was cunning, smart. You had to use strategy with these little guys, little fluff balls. There were so many places for them to hide. So I'd have fast hands. And I may credit my reflexes to the time when I was catching bunnies. Snatch, 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 snatch. It was ridiculous. I was out there you can just send me out there. 15 minutes, I'm catching a bunny. Here you go. Boom. We were very gentle with them, though. Obviously, they didn't want to be caught. I didn't really have parents. I had guardians. My mom so I had my mom. I've never met my father. He got deported, I think, when he was a young man before I was born. He's from the Philippines. I've never met him, but he got deported for committing and participating in like pretty nasty crimes. So my mom, she was really young when she had me, so I didn't like benefit from any wisdom really from her. Everything I've come to like learn was just by observation and requisite information and experience that I would just get from, living life. But she was never around anyways. So she would have never been in a position to afford me that information, or like trying to open my mind to empathy or the moral implications of seizing these animals and for captivity, basically. So we caught all these bunnies, and there's one time I remember the bunny. It was like a light brown, and I was just stepping off a rock. This was not a time when I was even trying to catch a bunny. I was stepping off a rock, and the bunny came out of, it was a pile of rocks, so it came out from a crevice, and I accidentally stepped on its neck. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And it, like, I held it in my hands, I held it close, and I could feel it like twitching. Yeah, it messed me up. That's the day I stopped catching bunnies. I would say that was like 3 weeks in to catching bunnies, because there's so many of them. So we caught them. After we caught them, I didn't know what was happening to them. I didn't even question it. It was just almost like a game. Go catch the bunnies. Okay. So we did that. But what the owner of the property was doing was like breeding them, basically. He just wanted a yard full of bunnies. So that's what he did. And he took care of them. He was very, very motherly, very maternal with his care, nursing the little ones when required. And he he built nests for babies and things like that. So luckily, I wasn't conned into some sort of like death camp situation, processing these little creatures into something consumable. But I don't remember how I got on the topic of bunnies. Oh, your mind space influencers, bunnies. Like, I wonder how many of us actually stop and think actively about the information as it presents and how it affects us, how it hits us. How many of us do that? I'm doing it most of the time. I can't help but do that. It's just how my process works. I look at the visuals. I listen to the audio. I see if it aligns. I look for little tricks that could be being used. So I don't really have the benefit of enjoying content. I'm so painfully aware of things. But in doing that, I'm able to place a valuation on that information. If I can see it's been tampered with, or it's being curated in such a way, then I sort of dismiss it. I wouldn't say dismiss it, but I definitely file it into a different category. Something impure with an agenda. So I think people need to practice that a little bit more often, because the amount of headlines people get for having an opinion or saying something, I don't care what kind of celebrity they are, but the fact that they utter something, they string together a series of words that represent some belief that they have, that gets headlines is just baffling to me. Like, so what? I wish we were a society of people in the West that could think for themselves more often. But we're not. We look towards monolithic avatars to outsource our thinking. We look towards the ones who best represent us, our identities, the ones that we most align with, so that we can take our hands off the wheel and just say, yeah, I probably think like that guy. And that is stupid. because it's easy, especially in the media. In fact, I think that is the point. Of course it is. To be performative in these theaters of communication. It's easy to put on a costume, to put on a little bit of an accent. That's easy, boy. You know what I mean? Like it's not real. So I'm not saying that these things shouldn't exist. I think it's entertainment. But if we're going to plateau, or rather platform, and celebrate the opinions of people and then lose our goddamn minds when they don't align with a consensus, that tells me that ideas are dangerous. And what you say is dangerous. Language is dangerous. And so I wish people would arm themselves. Like if you see something, an idea is raised, explore it further. Pick up a book. I don't know, fucking download a book, pirate it. But explore the idea and then conclude your beliefs within yourself. These people are not, like, they're not producing full structures as they speak. There's not a solid building coming out of their mouth saying this is an absolute. That's not at all what this is. These are just, like, in some way, they're just sort of like spells. So I just wish that wasn't the case. I don't have such an effect on people, but this is the reality we live in. And God damn these headlines. It's September 10th, 9:45 a.m. I gotta get to work.